Thank you, Michael, for being here on behalf of the American Lamb Board and all of the sheep producers in the U.S. You spoke this morning about what?
About the consumer, about tomorrow's consumer in particular. We're very excited to, my company, Mind Marketing, works with the meat industry to better understand the consumer and opportunities to better position our products for the future. We spend a lot of time talking to consumers about the relationship with meat, and I was able to share this morning with the audience some of the work we've done in how we categorize consumers, how we understand what their needs and drivers are, and then had a phenomenal panel with a retailer and a chef who also shared some of their experiences with the product.
But Michael, when you were talking about today's consumer, is there anything that really pops to your head about lamb and the opportunities that we have?
Yeah. I think today's consumer is interested in experimenting, innovation, protein in general. They're the younger generations, particularly what we call millennials and Gen Z, so that's younger than 38, are all about the experience and trying to find something new. They get tired of the same old. They weren't raised under the very traditional format I was for meal planning, where you have your staples that happen every day. That's not what they're about. So I think from the lamb's perspective, as I look at the protein choices that consumers have today, they're used to working with beef in particular, chicken, and pork, but lamb is something relatively new. So as we look at a consumer base, the younger generation in particular, who is relatively uneducated in how to use meat in general, and they're looking for something new and exciting and innovative, I think that's where lamb enters, because we have an opportunity to start with a clean slate, introduce to them the flavor and the incredible opportunities for grilling and all different kinds of preparation methods, and really work to really start anew with the new generation in creating meal opportunities as meal solutions for consumers.
I imagine we have quite a few sheep producers listening to this. Can you help us understand what consumers want to know from us?
Consumers today are all about the younger. I'm going to stick with the younger generation because I'm talking about tomorrow's consumers. I don't want to rule out boomers. You know what? Boomers have a lot. I'm a boomer, so anybody who's honestly 55 and older are boomers. And then we get into other generations older than that. But there's a lot of recognition for our product in that age category. There's a lot of understanding on how to use that product and other proteins in that category, and they have a lot of money. So I don't want to disregard them, but we're talking about tomorrow's consumers, and that's that younger generation, relatively uninformed generation about meat. So as I think about what they're looking for from products in general, and lamb in particular, they're looking for transparency in how the lambs were raised. They really want to know the storyline behind. They want to know that there's authenticity there, that there's a passion about production. They want to know that the animals were well taken care of. And in addition, if you go even a little broader, they want to know a little bit about the family itself. They want to know about the community that they're raised in. They want to know how they handle their relationship with the environment. All those things, I'm using buzzwords: animal welfare, humanely raised, safety, quality, sustainability, the environment. Those are the kinds of things consumers today are concerned about, and those are the messages that our producers are best able to share with them.
So are you telling me that production as we've become to know it in the U.S., sheep production, is going to have to change?
I think to some degree it is going to change. I think we're seeing some of that already, but I think the focus on production can no longer be about, I'm going to produce to produce. I've got a set of specs that I'm working with, and I'm working out exactly what I'm going to do to send it out my front gate at the best price. Now, there's always something to say about price. You're not going to be an operation unless you think about price, but today's production has to be focused on the end game. And for all of us in this business, whether you're on the ranch or whether you're with some other part of the moving product from farm to fork, you've got to think about the end game, because we're all in this together. As you hand off a product to the next player up the line in getting your lambs to actually show up on a plate somewhere, you need to think about what that consumer is going to look for and it really starts on the ranch. It really starts with what we're producing, the genetics, the quality, the consistency, and all those kinds of things that start on the ranch. Because some of those things we're not able to change along the path. They've got to happen here.
Let's sum up here, Michael. Again, we're speaking with Michael Utes, Marketing, and we're at the American Lamb Summit, the first ever. Michael, what 3 things do you hope producers will take away from this morning's session and remember?
I would suggest that there are kind of 3 big platform issues. Number one is, as we've been talking about, you've got to know who tomorrow's consumers are. There's a lot of ways we can dig into who they are, but it's important to start thinking about how tomorrow's consumer is so different than the consumer we had of yesterday. They've evolved. It's the most diverse consumer base we've ever had, and they're looking for different things that we would have traditionally thought of. So spend some time, doing research and understanding exactly who they are and what their needs are. Secondly, I think that we've got a brand story to tell, and it's pretty powerful. When we talk to Faith Gerard at Rayleigh's and Chef Jay McCarthy, who does culinary work all over the world, what they talked about is the power of the brand story and the opportunity for them to share that story with their customers, because the customers can actually relate to that, and that's what customers are looking, is to find some sort of a value or relationship with the products that they buy. And the third thing is that when we talk about opportunities to work to put our best foot forward on our products with the consumer, it's really about working with retailers and food service operators, chefs. If we don't understand their needs, and they can be very specific needs based on their customer base, then we're not going to help them do their best to actually deliver our product across the finish line and make it the best potential product that could be on the plate. We're working to increase market share here. We're working to create an opportunity for us to be a chosen protein for the center of the plate. And it's those kind of partnerships and that beautiful brand story that we have to tell that we need to start focusing on as we produce our product.
But Michael, is there hope for the American sheep industry?
I think there's tremendous hope. I've spent some time visiting the countryside. I see the passion of the producers. It's not been an easy path for the lamb producer, but there are still very passionate people who are out there wanting to make a difference in the lamb industry. I think that the new consumer, tomorrow's consumer, is probably better than any other time we've looked at in the generations we've looked at in the past. It's probably staged to really embrace our product like no other, because they're looking for something new and interesting. And I believe that the workshops that are taking place over the next couple of days, talking about quality and consistency and safety and all those kinds of things, are just going to culminate in continuing to elevate the lamb industry, which means we're going to have better products to share and move through the system. The handoffs are going to be cleaner to our partners upstream, and we're going to have Faith and Chef Jay thrilled about putting fresh U.S. lamb in front of their customers to purchase and take home.